Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Got a lot to dive into in this video and not a lot of time, so we'll get right into it. So I have been busy. You guys can see 8736 is completely apart, like completely. And this was the one, if you guys remember from my last video, I got it used. It had some issues, some blemishes, some things that we need to fix, and I've been in the process of fixing those issues. One of the things was the this windshield right here had a big scratch in it, and I can actually show you guys. That's the window, and you guys can see the big scratch through it. So pulled that out, put a new one in. Hardest part of that was just carefully getting the windshield wipers out and back in. I do have a bunch of spare sets of those. If I did bend them all to hell, I could have fixed that. There is a lot of paint stuff that we have to address, but I'm going to wait till the locomotive is a little bit more put together for that. Let's see, what else have I done? You guys might remember this armrest was very cockeyed, was not straight at all. It had appeared to be put on poorly from the factory, shocker. So removed that very carefully, and then glued it back on a lot more straight, very carefully as well, not to fog the windows. I think there was this grab iron was out of place, so we had to put that back in place. Other than that, I think that's all I've done for repairs on the cab itself. The long hood, we replaced this whole exhaust piece right here. This is the original. You can see that corner kind of got destroyed. Nice little chunk out of that side. And these are not fun pieces to get off. If you do go about doing that, use a very sharp knife and very delicately pry in between the pieces carefully. As careful as you can do without not completely destroying the shell. Wasn't too worried about getting this part off because this was the part that we were replacing, and I had one that was paint matched pretty good. Some of these throughout the years of Athearn, the colors might be, this one's like a shade darker, just a little bit darker, but I had one that worked in there, so got that replaced. Still have I've done no paint work at all. We have a lot of little teeny paint things that we need to work on. You guys can see that I have this off of the whole running board section and walkway section. And this is actually not its original walkway. If you guys remember from the video, let's see here. There was damage to, I think it was this step. On the other one, there was like a chunk that had been, something hit it at some point and messed that step up. And there were a few other issues. So what I did was I had a donor under frame here. The biggest hassle with this was it was a little bit older, and it had incandescent bulbs. Is that gonna? I don't know if that's gonna focus. Not really gonna be able to see much anyway. But either way, it had incandescent bulbs for the ditch lights, and this locomotive came with Tsunami 2. It's one of these blue panels right here, and those panels take the LEDs, so I had to remove the ditch light housings and then run LED ditch lights. These are a factory LED ditch light that are in here, tested and worked. First round of that did not go so well. I made the mistake of getting everything put together, glued back in place, and then tested them. and to find out that my operator's side, or the engineer's side, ditch light was not working. So had to go back, redo all that. So moral of the story is, once you get your lights ran, test them before you do anything else. So, you know, I do a lot of modeling. I make plenty of mistakes. Little things like that kind of, you know, bypass my brain when I'm thinking about 100 other things. But those are good to go. They're tested. They work. You guys can see I already have the sanders put on. If you have these Athearn models and you've put the sanders on, you know they are a complete pain in the ass. These ones not too bad. The very far forward and far rear sanders are a huge pain in the ass to get on. If you do not take some stuff apart to help access those little holes that those go in. So yeah, this is a complete donor piece. New ditch lights, new LEDs for those. I've already went and cleaned up a lot of the holes, because when you take these apart, they don't come apart nicely because the shells are glued to this piece, and you are going to suffer some damage. Luckily, if you do it right, you get all internal damage and nothing that can be seen. And then you have to go back and clean up all of these nubs and clean up the areas around them, because they will pull paint off and they will pull plastic with them. They are glued very well. One of the few parts that is actually glued quite well on these locomotives. So got that cleaned up. Sir, I am trying to do a video. Quit causing trouble. Yeah. Pepper. Sorry, guys. Get down from there. My shop foreman's waiting for his treats, so that's why he's getting pissy. Had a couple grab irons that were out of place back here. We have fixed those. You can see we have some paint that we have to fix up. There were a couple lifting lugs that were loose here and there, so those are glued back in place. But yeah, other than that, this locomotive's the locomotive itself, the shell is ready to go back together. I might tackle a few paint things before I put it all together, and then some things I'm gonna have to wait till after it's together, just so I make sure everything's looking good. And then so along with a whole new underframe, we have brand new trucks, unused, unrun, good condition, clean, wheels are good. We're going to paint the wheels, and then I am going to change out the PTC set on this. This actually had like a more modern full painted PTC antenna set up on there. Kind of like the 9000 series. You can see the difference actually right here between, I think that's an 87, yeah, it's an 87 series versus a 90 or a 9000 series. The paint difference in the PTC, and I did look it up, and it appears this locomotive actually had this, but with it being a 87 series, I kind of want it to match the rest of my 87 series. So even though it might not be prototypical, it'll look nicer with a with the separate painted PTC antenna boxes there. So we're going to swap that out. And what else? I have the frame ready to go. That's also a new frame. It's getting a new motor, new speaker. It is keeping its original panel. The panel was fine. But basically upgrading everything else to new parts and fixing it up, cleaning it up, and it's going to be a fantastic, pretty much brand new looking locomotive and brand new running locomotive, so that'll be nice. And then on my to-do list as well, one of these other blue panels is going to go in 9000. 9069 is DCC and sound, and then if you guys watched the last video, you saw 9000 is just DC, so that's going to get a nice Tsunami 2 panel in it. And of course it'll need a speaker. I've got speakers laying over here, got a variety of speakers, all new motors, plenty of parts to work with. And then, so I have that going on, but I also have something else going on in the background as well. You guys will see I have quite a few parts for a Grand Trunk locomotive. Under there's a whole fuel tank full of parts. So I tracked down the last unit that I was missing, and that is 5853 GP38-2. I was missing this one. I have 5856 and 5861. Athearn came out with 3 of these, all in their 75th anniversary time frame, and this was the last one that I was missing. Now, sad thing was, this thing has been heavily used and abused, so I have a lot of work ahead of me, and you guys are going to see firsthand here just how bad this is. Some stuff I am just gonna kind of have to deal with, and most of it we can fix, which is good. This locomotive is basically going to get more new parts than original parts, is what's going to wind up happening. Whoever owned this before me was not kind to it, and they clearly did not know what they were doing. But overall, it's not unsavable, and that's the big part. Is it is completely savable, and we're going to save it. Already, you guys can see one of the problems there. That's not good. And I bought it knowing that it had a lot of issues, but I needed this number, so it's the only one I could find. We're gonna get to the really bad part of this here, and yeah, it's not good. Somebody really didn't know what they were doing, and they went to town with the glue, and they put the all-weather window on facing the wrong direction. So that's super shitty. That sucks. That's not nice. That's not fun. That's gonna suck to fix. But preparations have already been made to fix this. The only thing that really, really sucks is I'm not going to be able to do too much about the glue mess over the cab here on the lower part of the cab where the number is. I'm just going to kind of have to try to clean that up the best I can. But that's basically what it is. This whole window piece, you guys can see. Let's get this here. Athearn makes these window inserts a separate piece so that way they can put in their sliding windows that go in here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to pull this whole piece off here, and that's going to go to garbage. That's not good anymore. That's where most of the mess is. There's a little bit of mess down here, but like I said, there's not a damn thing I can do about that. I'm probably going to have to take a knife and cut along this seam, because I'm pretty sure with how much glue is on here, this is going to be glued to this. So that sucks, but I'm going to do my best to make it look better. But it's going to be rough. It's not going to be an easy task. But I do have parts ready for this. They don't come off very nice, and yes, I did buy another GP38-2 with DCC and sound simply to steal parts off of, and it was one that I already had the number for, so you don't have to hate me too much. I have half, or a little over half of the section. This is gonna go in here, and then I'm gonna have to cut a section off of this one. You're going to ask me why am I not just using this full piece, because there's holes in here for the mirror, and the mirror is going to be on the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just this panel right here, and then basically I'm going to piece it with this one. Now I'm not going to have any holes for the mirror to mount in, but I will be able to carefully glue the mirror on without doing a childish job like this. So it's a little bit of fuckery going on there to get that, but it'll look way better without glue smeared parts. I do have new sliding windows. There's not supposed to be an all-weather window right there anyway. Athearn does include another all-weather window, but most of Grand Trunk Western's fleet had just an all-weather window on the engineer's side and not the conductor's side. So we're gonna use all these good parts and rebuild that. So the upper portion of this is gonna look a lot better. This is the only part that really sucks. It's not gonna be super terrible. It's kind of like one of those things where the further away you get, the better it looks, and the closer up you get, the worse it looks. But like I said, other than just some glue damage right here, which I am going to still try to clean some of that up, I'm just going to do my best to completely repair this whole upper part of the cab. And I have the parts to do that. We have, like I said, I have new sliding windows to put in there too. And if I just have a bunch of parts here that I can swap out, I'm definitely going to need to put a new sun visor on, because this sun visor has been glued to this and it's all crapped up with glue and everything. I even have some of the new trim pieces buried in here. You guys can see them right there. To get this piece out anyway, I have to cut this trim piece out that holds, or the guide for the sun visor. So all of this whole upper portion here is going to go bye-bye, and we're going to put all new nice parts on there and do my best to make it look a little bit better. This is also its new fuel tank that it's going to get. And then some more issues that we're dealing with. The plow has a nice big chunk out of it on the bottom there, you guys can see. Like, almost like cut out chunk. Don't really know what's going on there. Missing the front coupler. The whole thing is just gone. I don't... Oh, the top insert's in there, but the bottom portion and the coupler itself is gone. So, that's all going to get replaced. The whole underframe is going to get replaced. You guys can see there's like a lot of dust on it. I think there's even some missing parts here and there. But yeah, that one's still holding on. This shouldn't be like that. So its donor frame is sitting right here with DCC and sound. Now this, as you guys saw, it does have Tsunami too. I have not tested any bit of this because I'm just throwing new parts at it. I have new parts to throw at it, so we're going to throw as much new parts as possible. So it's getting an entire new frame. Never run, brand new, unused frame. I've tested it just to see the sound function. Everything works. Nice new panel, new motor, new gears, new wheels. Everything's new, shiny, good condition. Nothing's broken. So, this whole lower half of this locomotive, all this stuff right here, the walkways and everything, that's going to go bye-bye. We're going to put this whole new portion on here. And all that's new. All new railings. We're going to put the new railings on. I'm not even going to mess with the railings that are currently on there. You guys can see we have a plow that's not all beat to shit. The nose is in really good shape on this. The walkways, I mean, this is off of a brand new locomotive, so this is all nice new stuff. I even do have a new long hood cover. We're going to put that on. And yeah, so it's getting a lot of new stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with this cover. Might just see if it'll clean up a little bit. There is some gunk on this that needs to kind of be cleaned up. Even though I do have a new horn, we'll probably just try to straighten this one out a little bit, reposition it a little bit. The fan detail appears to be in good shape yet. The rest of the hood, the long hood, is okay. I think one of those grab irons is missing some paint, but like I said, that nose is going to be replaced with the new one. So, all new railings. The rear railings are broke off, missing, so that's another issue. So, I don't like buying stuff like this unless I am 100% prepared. When I bought this, before I bought this, I made damn sure there was another locomotive, another Grand Trunk GP38-2 with DCC and sound that I could buy at the same time, because I was not going to buy this without having a direct part source. So, I was able to find both at the same time, bought them, and I'm going to do everything I can to just make this a lot nicer. So you guys will be able to see some of that progression. Like I said, it's not terrible, but it's pretty close to terrible. I mean, that right there, that's terrible. Everything else is pretty simple. But yeah, this old thing's going to get some much needed TLC. Big time TLC. The next time you see this locomotive, it's going to be completely apart. Hopefully I will have this whole side of the cab stripped off. The cab will be off of the long hood. Everything will be apart. And, so yeah, so it's going to need some work, but I love the Grand Trunk. That's my home railroad, so we're going to do everything we can in my power to fix this girl up and kind of give her some glory back. Thank God this side is not fucked up. Everything seems all right there. A little paint or glue issue on the one little post there. We'll fix that. Fairly good everywhere else on the long hood. Paint appears to be still in really good shape, so we're just gonna have to suffer through some shit to get that kind of cleaned up and fixed up. But I'm gonna do my best, and ideally someday I would like to buy a brand new one of these that doesn't have the glue damage that I cannot do anything about. That would be nice, but for now we're going to put in some time and effort to save this one. It's worth saving, so we're going to do the work to save it. A lot harder than what's going on with 8736 here, so so we got that going on. You guys saw me unbox 5861. That's brand new, unused. Nothing to really do on that one other than switch the couplers out. Like I said, eventually I do need to get around to painting the wheels on these locomotives so they're not shiny. But that's all what we have going on right now. A lot of work, a lot of... Oh, I almost forgot. I have something really exciting to show you guys. Something that I actually kind of worked on. I still need to take care of a few little things. So you guys see, I've got my lineup of special SD70 ACEs, or the special painted SD70 ACEs, and you guys see I have 1111 up there, and really take a close look at that locomotive. Notice anything different? What about now? Notice anything different on this locomotive? If you know this locomotive, you're going to notice it right away. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I made a decision because I didn't like what UP did. And what UP had originally done, and I really only have the box art to demonstrate this. So that's how it looks when it comes to you. And that's how it looks modern day. That's how UP painted it. With this gross, boring, gray underframe. They did all this crazy painting with the people and the flag and the stripes and the different colors. And then they put this gray underframe on it. I hate that. I don't know why they did that. And that was the only part of this locomotive's paint scheme I just wasn't a fan of. I did not like the gray underframe. And you guys can, if you don't know much about the locomotive, you can look it up online and find pictures of the real one. So I made the decision to completely swap out the underframe with a entire silver painted underframe. This is off of a SD70 ACE that I bought a couple of. It's actually the underframe of, not this one specifically because this one's all together, but I bought a handful of these 1943s because I love them. That's like one of my favorite ones of all time. And so I've got a few to mess around with. So what I did was I completely removed the whole underframe, walkways, pilots, that whole piece. You guys can see how that comes off in one big section. Got that. The sides of the frame, fuel tank, trucks, all that good stuff from one of those locomotives, and very carefully pulled the original off and then fitted the silver one. And it's as it sits right now, it's fully back together, fully running. I do have to paint the wheels on it yet. I wasn't quite ready to do that. I wanted to get the hard part done first, get everything mocked up, get everything back in place, test fitted, put back together. And now I feel like this locomotive actually looks as it should. I don't know why they didn't put a nice shiny silver underframe on this. Because I feel like, my personal opinion, you might not like it. Some of you might not like it. Some of you might love it. Some of you might hate it. But that's how they should have painted the locomotive. They should have done a silver underframe on this locomotive to match. Now I know it's a little different on the heritage locomotives because those actually have matched pilots front and rear, but everything else is silver. But my two favorites, 4141 and 1943, both of those are a full silver frame, and man, they look sharp. Those are definitely my two favorite SD70 ACEs. And I wanted this one to kind of match in with the fleet, my fleet. So I took a lot of time carefully removing the parts and carefully reattaching them, re-gluing, doing a little bit of paint work here and there to get this all fit up really nice, to make it look just as good as it would have if they would have done this from the factory. And now I have a completely custom, and to my knowledge, I'm the only person that's done this. I have a silver underframe 1111. And I love it. I just think it looks so much better with a silver underframe. I've posted this in a couple UP groups on Facebook, and I've received a lot of positive feedback, which is nice. I didn't care either way because it's my locomotive. I'm going to do what I want with it, but it is nice to have a little bit of reassurance. Full disclosure, I did buy 2 of these, so I have one that's completely untouched. But this one, I wanted to do this and see how it looked, and it was well worth the time and effort I put into doing this. And I can tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy to separate these parts because they're glued. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. There's a lot of stuff that can break. There's a lot of areas of paint that can be completely ruined. So if you do something like this, if you've done something like this, you understand it's a little it's difficult, it's time consuming, it's nerve wracking. If you really don't want to mess anything up, it's a little nerve wracking. But if you take your time to do it right, the hard work is well worth the reward. And now I have this beautiful custom 1111 1111 powered by our people, and I love it. I'm really happy with it. That's what, in my mind, that's what UP should have done. UP should have just painted the whole underframe silver. And what's really cool is you guys can even see the people and their clothes and their tools reflecting off of the silver catwalk. I like that. That was something that I wasn't didn't even really think of. But how cool is that to actually get the reflections of the crew and their utensils or their tools reflecting off of the walkways. So that was kind of a neat. Once I got that on there, I'm like, huh, cool. It's reflective. I mean, it's shiny silver, of course, it's going to reflect, but with the some of the bright, vibrant colors that you have on some of these people, it's I didn't really expect to see that, so that's kind of neat. Little neat side effect. Now, the only thing that you do lose if you do this, and like I said, me personally, I didn't feel like I was losing much, was the matching paint. This kind of, it's almost like it's some type of blue. It's like a mint blue or something like that. You lose that color on the front portion of the front deck here. But everything under that's gray. And I feel like this still looks really nice. And I mean, of course, it looks nice on these. Of course, this has a silver nose on it, but 4141, you got that two-tone with the stripe. And you almost kind of have it's pretty close to the same color. This got a little bit more blue in it on that bottom portion. But that looks super sharp against the silver. And I feel like this looks pretty sharp against the silver as well. So yeah, I lost a little bit of paint there, but I like it way better. I feel like this locomotive looks as it should. UP really should have done that. And like I said, that always bothered me. The second I saw this locomotive, I was like, oh, that frame just is like a normal, boring UP gray on this very colorful locomotive. Now, of course, there's some areas of some dark gray, sprinkled in here, but there's a lot of color going on all over the whole thing. And I feel like the silver really sets it off. So that was my first time ever completely swapping over the whole underframe like that. So that made that a lot more easier for me, because then I kind of knew what I was in for. But like I said, I took my time, was very careful. There's a lot of glued areas that you really got to pry on, and you kind of have to do a mix of being careful and really giving it some force to pull some of this stuff apart. But it's definitely nerve-wracking if you want the end result to look nice, and I wanted mine to look nice, and I feel like I did pretty good. So yeah, so I've been a little busy. That was the first project that I tackled. We'll get I'm going to kind of work on 8736 and 58, 53 at the same time. Try to get through some of the hard parts of those. I'm already through the worst of this one. That one's still got a lot of worse to get to, so. But I've got everything ready, all the parts are ready, so everything's ready to go. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. And let me know what you think about my 1111 or 1111, however you want to call it. And until next time, take care.